PMDD shaped my life for 17 years before I could name it. I spent those years searching for answers, questioning my sanity, and desperately seeking treatments that actually worked. My painful journey had an unexpected twist. Helping others heal from PMDD became my life's purpose. Hi, I'm Jess, a board-certified nutritional therapist, coach, the founder of Her Mood Mentor, and your host. This is PMDD Pep Talk, a weekly reminder that your suffering is real, your experience is valid, and your future is brighter than your symptoms suggest. Each week, we're going to explore the truths about PMDD that nobody talks about. The kind of truths that shift something deep inside you and make you think, maybe there's more possible than I imagined. Whether you're in the depths of luteal darkness or riding the clarity of your follicular phase, you're exactly where you need to be. Because here's what I know for sure. Healing PMDD isn't just about managing symptoms, it's about transforming your life. This challenge, as brutal as it can be, is an invitation to know yourself more deeply and live a more joyful, purpose-filled life. PMDD might feel like your whole story, but it's just a chapter, and you get to write what comes next. Welcome to PMDD Pep Talk. Quick pep talk pause. Remember that everything we talk about here is meant to educate and inspire. Always team up with your healthcare provider for personal medical advice. All right, now let's get into it. Hello, this is Jess with Her Mood Mentor, and today I'm meeting with one of our one-to-one clients and PMDD Rehab students, Allie. Hi, Allie.
Hello. How are you?
So good. I'm so excited to chat with you. Allie's here to share her PMDD story with us, and we are very excited to hear. So thanks for being here, Allie. I'm saying here lots of times.
Yeah. Thank you for having me as well. Thank you for wanting to share my story because I could talk about it over and over and over again. It's been a long journey, but obviously if I didn't have you, it would be an even longer one. So yeah, I'm happy to be here as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we're so excited to hear. Of course, I know your story, but we're going to unpack this for those listening. And this is such a good one because well, you'll see when Allie shares. So tell us a little bit about when these symptoms started for you and what symptoms you were experiencing.
So this started about, I would say about 2 years ago now. I had gotten a concussion. And then after the concussion, it kind of turned into like severe depression, anxiety, feeling very out of my body, very, just not myself at all. Very scared, to say the least. And it took a huge toll on me. I felt very embarrassed, but also just very stuck. And I went to many different hospital visits. I got every scan you can think of. I think I spoke to every doctor that there is that they make. And everyone was pretty much telling me that I was fine. And I knew in my heart, I knew, with everything that I was feeling that I wasn't. The things that I was feeling was, like I said before, severe anxiety and depression, but also just very panicky, very paranoid, very confused, very disoriented, major brain fog. What else? It felt like each week was like something else. And I felt like I was just adding to the list every day. And it was a lot. What else? Severe headaches. And because I've never felt like what a panic attack or, severe depression where I couldn't even get out of my bed. I wasn't eating. It was just a very scary time. And I just felt like I didn't have anyone. I shouldn't say I didn't feel like I had anyone, but nobody understood or nobody knew what was going on. And everyone kind of just looked at me like I had five heads. And it just, it was very difficult to explain that to someone. And um, me being a very anxious person and very OCD like, it actually came out more tenfold. And I was just very eager to figure out what was going on. And because of any type of like mental disorder or, any type of health, really, sometimes it takes time to track and figure out like what's really going on. And it felt like eternity, but, eventually I, got the answers to it. But from, I would say it was like October till like February was like I think the longest months of my life.
Mhm.
What it felt like, and it was just pure stress, just scared, very uncomfortable. I felt like I couldn't even like sit down in my own skin. I just felt like I don't know. I just it wasn't me. That's all I could say. Um, but yeah, that was pretty much how I figured out that it was PMDD. I mean, I went through myself a shrine of different mental health disorders that I thought I had, and I immediately went into therapy. I immediately had gotten a psychiatrist um, because I was just that scared. I mean, I was having very intrusive thoughts, very just like intense thoughts as well that I've never had in my life. So when I was in one of my ER visits, they had linked me up with a psychiatrist, so I was able to meet with them right away. Because I didn't know what else to do, and I knew that there was something wrong, and I knew I needed to like get to the bottom of it. So with all of the doctors that I met, the one last doctor that I went to was my gyno. I told her everything that I was feeling, and she was like, "Well, I can either put you on a SSRI or birth control." So I said, "You know what? We could try birth control." And with me being on the birth control for about like 3 months is when I started to feel like the symptoms were subsiding. So at that point, I knew that it was hormonal related, and to kind of dive deep into that. And then that's what led me to find you. um, I was looking up, Googling PMDD. Then I like went in the search bar on Instagram and wrote, put in PMDD, and you were the first person to come up. And I actually had like a couple of mutual friends that followed you as well. So then, I reached out to them, but those people didn't meet with you, but they just kind of diagnosed themselves and kind of just went about it in a different way. And yeah, and then I wanted to it took some time to, contact you. I know I had messaged you a few times just with generalized questions, but yeah, uh, it. I would say maybe like 6 months or so until I actually like pulled the cord and I was like, all right, let's do this. I'm ready. So yeah,
Yeah.
here we
Yeah.
are.
So we started working together in April of 25 of this year.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, so like you unpacked the symptoms, you unpacked all of the providers that you went to, the different treatments that you had tried. I'm curious if you could just kind of paint a picture a little bit of what impact these symptoms were having on your quality of life before we move on.
Um, the impact, I would say, I mean, I was still working, but like in a very stressful environment. I think I was crying from morning to night. I was very uncomfortable. I, it was like the very bare minimum. I felt like I was very, I felt like I was, every day felt like a fight. It was very stressful. But I still managed to just do what I had to do. But my one job kind of took a hit. I work with a client who's special needs, and it wasn't easy. As much as she brought me so much light, laughter, and joy, it was very hard. And I hated her. I hated for her to see me that way because she, didn't understand. And also, I just not that it was never safe. It was always safe, but I just I wanted it to be in better condition. So I have to say that my one job kind of took a hit with that. But her mom was very understanding and very helpful. Um, but yeah, my other job, working in that, I had to do what I had to do. But it wasn't easy. Like socializing was not a thing for me. Not like barely leaving the house. I was just scared of everything. Um, and it also too, like we all know, like in November is when it starts to get really dark very early. So like it all hit me at once, and like seasonal depression was like truly a thing for me. Like I would always say like, oh, seasonal depression, I hate it when it gets dark, I get so sad. Like that was a total different experience for me when I was going through all of these symptoms. I mean, like seasonal depression was on like steroids. So yeah, it was just very weird timing. And yeah, it just living felt like a fight every single day. So if that's like the best way to explain what kind of impact it had on me, every day just felt like I was fighting. I don't want to say to stay alive, but just to function, just to like get up in the morning, take a shower, do whatever I had to do and go to work, or, run errands. That was like pulling teeth. I couldn't. And that's not like me. I go, go, go. I don't sit. So yeah.
Yeah, it was really getting in the way of you living your life normally, and a big change because, prior to that concussion, those symptoms hadn't been developing the
Yeah.
PMDD symptoms. So I'm
Yeah.
curious. Oh,
I,
sorry. Go
no,
ahead.
it's okay. I would say that I had very subtle symptoms.
Okay.
Nothing to where it stood out to where it has now. Um, but looking back and thinking about the subtle symptoms, I'm like, oh, that was that, but very minor.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So after everything that you had been through up until April, what led you to taking this type of approach?
So the first thing was, this is my life, and I have to make the most of it. Um, and struggling for as long as I was, um, this is not something that I ever want to go through again. And although like I loved that the birth control has helped me a lot, it is also not good for your body at all. And I kind of was starting that journey of kind of just having and having cleaner products, for like skin, all the toiletries, hygiene, all that, and also food wise as well. I suffer from Crohn's disease. I've been diagnosed since I was 16. So my eating habit has always been an issue for me. And I know that my gut has always been, number one to take care of. But now it's not just my gut, it's my mental health. And so I was starting in with like, trying to, just slowly change different products to kind of like, be more, cleaner and stuff. So then that kind of put me on to like, oh, wow, I'm on birth control, which is like one of the worst things for your body. And if we're going to talk about being clean, it's definitely not being on birth control. So that was big. And yeah, like I said, like this is my life and I'm not going to be on birth control in my life. And I have to learn how to manage my life with these symptoms. And I have to, just make changes, put myself in uncomfortable positions, and, really put in that work. And, I looked back on everything that I was dealing with and I was like, all right, like, let's do it, because you only live once and I definitely want to make the best of it. So I know that going the more natural approach was the best idea. So,
Yeah. I mean, when you started, we were mapping 25 days of symptoms.
yeah,
So you were experiencing not just PMDD, but premenstrual exacerbation of some other things that were going on, including some of the
yeah,
digestive aspects. But you really didn't have much of a reprieve from symptoms in an entire month's time or entire cycle's time. And so when you're talking about this is my life, like we're really talking about like this was your life, like not
Yeah.
just 2 weeks like many of us suffer, which is plenty, and we would
Mhm.
like to reduce that.
Yeah.
But for you, the symptom duration was even longer than that typical luteal phase that we see with PMDD. So yes, like I'm just reiterating when you say like this is my life, we're talking about like Allie's life like every single day. She was fighting for her life to get through, not just that 2 week period.
Yeah.
Going into the program, so we can't communicate every detail that you're going to experience in the program. There's a lot of unknowns, like you said, you're kind of confronting change and putting yourself in an uncomfortable position of what are we doing in this program? What are we going to learn? What's going to happen? So, what were some of your fears entering into the program when you got started?
Um, I would say my biggest fear was if I'm going to be consistent or not. Um, and if I'm going to be disciplined and have self control over certain things that I do struggle with. And, even before Crohn's disease, and then obviously even before PMDD, I've struggled with my diet. I've struggled with exercising and staying active and moving my body the way it needs to. And it's always been important to me, but it wasn't important enough for me to like put the pedal to the metal.
Mhm.
And now obviously this put fire in me, because I just know that I want to be a mother one day. I want to be able to work, get up, to do what I have to do, or even just getting up and exercising, or just taking care of my client or my family members. Whatever I need to be there. So, um, although the fear of going into this was, my being consistent, um, I know that when I really apply myself, that I will, take care of what needs to be taken care of and do what I need to do and just learn. I've learned so much meeting with you, and even the videos that like the assignments, and I mean it was just so much information, but so knowledgeable. Like I will 100% have to go back and revisit that because it was a lot, but it was just so like interesting, and like stuff that like us women we don't learn. I had no idea we had phases, no
Mhm.
idea.
Yeah.
Um, it's just, and I think it's so important, especially when it comes to us women being in relationships as well. Um, I think it's important for also men to just know what it is that we like, what it's like to, well, not that it want them to know what it's like, that what we go through, but just to have knowledge, just to understand that we need that TLC, we need that, that extra love sometimes, because women, we all PMS, but some of us just take it to a whole nother level. So
It's true. It's true. There are noticeable shifts from phase to phase. That's part of living in a female body. And we shouldn't be debilitated by those symptoms. But I love hearing you answer that question and hear that your biggest fear was about your consistency, because coming out of the program and reflecting, like, that's something you got to prove to yourself. Like, did consistency look like perfection? No, that's not what we were aiming for, though. But you showed up repeatedly. You collected the data. You worked through the coursework. Like you proved to yourself that that fear was simply a fear, that you couldn't be consistent, that you couldn't show up for yourself, that you couldn't make the changes. Like you did all of those things. So you also built that confidence
yeah,
through the program around that fear. And I think that was just one of the beautiful takeaways for your story specifically.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
I
So
agree.
let's get into it. As you went through the program, tell us a little bit about what changed for you. Obviously, you said you learned a lot, but what shifted? Did you see any symptom reduction? Did anything, any changes that you want to share?
So yeah, I will start with the symptoms that I've seen a significant amount of reduction. My depression, my anxiety. I still have my anxiety, but it heightens mostly like a week before I'm due for my period. Sometimes even afterwards too. It could be either or. It could be both, or it could be, like I said, before or after. Um, I had really bad tinnitus, which I still have it. It's not as bad though. And it's not even like a ringing. It's just like a very muffled sound that like most people will get like if it's a very quiet room. But I could tell that it's reduced a lot. Um, Cramps, I'm kind of diving into like physical symptoms and not. Um, Cramps, I mean, I still can get pretty bad cramps or like really bad like lower back pain. But that's reduced. My headaches for sure. I um, haven't had those really bad headaches in a while. Paranoia, same thing. It would be pretty mild, if so. Um, Sleeping, I would get really bad sleep paralysis, but I would also get it slipped my mind. I would get really bad nightmares, but I also would like hallucinate in my sleep. So like the lucid dreaming, that hasn't happened. That was like a really big one. Like I used to always want to like, I used to look forward to going to bed because I can escape what I was, but it would just come to me in my sleep because it was just so stressful and so debilitating. And it was just like, I could never escape everything that I was feeling. The overwhelming feeling of doom, like it would just come over me. And it was just like, I'm just like, I feel like a robot. Um, and I feel like I've a lot of energy. I feel like I don't really get that. And if I do, I'm able to kind of shift my mind and just keep myself distracted and just maybe play some music or go for a walk or, just I it's crazy because like when I was having really bad panic attacks, they say that walking is great. Or they say like, like an ice bowl, stick your face in an ice bowl, or I don't even know. There's a couple other things that that people, will do if they are having panic attacks. But it's like my body would instantly like it would be in fight or flight mode, but then it would also like I would immediately want to walk. Like I would pace my house or I would like it's like my body's telling me that there's something wrong, but then my body's also like, okay, like this is what you need to do. And it was like the stuff that I wanted to do was the stuff that helps you get out of that. So it was very weird. Um, what else? Um, the things that I've actually, learned was um, my fluid intake. I've gotten so much better with that. I still have so much room to improve on that. I definitely can get a few more ounces in, but that's helped me tremendously with either my bladder or my headaches. Um, what else? Even the supplements too. Like I know that birth control can like suck the life out of you. So the supplements have been so helpful. Um, what else? And yeah, even like through the coursework, like there's so much that I've learned, and it's just like, and it's crazy too how like my gut is also connected with all of this, and how like this is helping everything. So it was like it's like killing two birds with one stone, um, and that my OCD loves that. um, but yeah, um, I think I hit everything on that. Um, I to get specific, I could be here all night, but I just know that I learned so much about hormones, my body, what I need to do, and how important it is. Just because I remember there was one visit that we had, and I was explaining to you that like the meditation or like certain like the breathing techniques. I don't feel like I need to do that because I have the birth control doing the work for me. But you explained it in a way of like, he, my body will always be in fight or flight mode. It's just I may not feel it as much, but it's still doing those things, even though I don't technically need to, where it's like I'm not in a full panic attack or whatever. I'm still training my body and telling it that it doesn't need to be in fight or flight mode. And it was just like, I don't know, just like a lot of light bulbs went off there. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
getting the reps in and being able to utilize those tools when you need them, you have to practice them outside of that. Because otherwise, when you're escalated, you're just
You
trapped.
don't know
And
where to
you're like,
start.
where's the tool? What do I do with it? I don't really
Yeah.
want to do it anyways, right? There's
Yeah.
not that connection with the practice.
Yeah.
So we build in a variety of different nervous system techniques, from nutrition to supplements to sleep to movement exercises to somatic exercises, and we want to be signaling safety to the body all the time so that it just lowers that sympathetic activation, but it also resources you when you do swing into a fight or flight mode. You're able to utilize those tools to bring yourself back down. So it's so important. I think, and this is a good takeaway for PMDD just in general. Like, you don't wait until you're symptomatic to address the symptoms, which is what most people are doing, which is why they're not getting the results that they're looking for. You have to address the symptoms before they happen. There has to be like that prophylactic process in place in order to get long-term symptom reduction. And then we also need management techniques so that the nervous system work is a prophylactic, but it's also an escalation tool. So it's like we're using it before you need it
Right.
prophylactically, but then we also are using it as a de-escalation tool when you're escalating with symptoms.
Right.
So it like falls into the management and reduction category
Hmm.
for symptoms, which we're always working on, and we need both, right? We need reduction techniques and we need management techniques, but your OCD loves the techniques that can hit two
Yeah.
birds with one stone as well.
Yeah.
And the nervous system is so important for the gut. I mean, your enteric nervous system is your gut. That's your gut. That's
Yeah.
the gut part of the nervous system. Like when people say
Yeah.
listening to your gut, like they're talking about the enteric nervous system. It doesn't get as much airtime as the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems, but it's a part of our nervous system in general. And so we can't just gloss over the fact that gut symptoms were a major part of your case and had been even before these symptoms escalated to the degree that they had. So we saw a significant amount of symptom reduction with you, both in duration and severity, but then just this confidence and this awareness and this education and the mindset work also resourced you in a way that you didn't feel so out of control when the symptoms were there. You were able to kind of regulate through it because, as we know, we don't just pump everyone out of this program symptom free forever. That's not how
Right.
it's not how it works. I wish we could cure PMDD, but it's not what we do here. We do help you reduce and manage, and so that is where you ended up. And so now I'm wondering, with the reduced symptoms, and in my notes I have like, through collecting our symptom mapping data, we were seeing a symptom reduction of around 8 days. Of course, that varies from cycle to cycle. But getting over a week back of your life from these moderate to severe symptoms, like what has shifted for you in your quality of life compared to previously, right? In survival mode, couldn't get through the day's basic requirements without struggling. Like, what's different now?
Oh, it's so different. So I mean, every day I get a great night's sleep. I'm sleeping wonderfully. And even if there's times that I'm not, I don't stress it. I don't, I'm not like getting like frustrated or whatever. I'll just lay there and I'll just, whatever. My head's racing, it's racing. I let it do what it's got to do. Eventually I'll go back to sleep. Sometimes I'll wake up earlier than I need to. But I'm still there relaxing. So like I'm not stressing about how like I'm not getting that hour of sleep. Which I understand getting a certain amount of hours is like very important, but I understand that it's sometimes not the situation and I just, roll with whatever, happens. But for the most part, I've gotten myself in a great nighttime routine. Going to bed around, I don't want to say the same time, but I'm in bed pretty early and I'm very okay with that. Um, getting up early. I know the last couple times that we met, I was like really struggling with that. I'm up at like 5 or 6, depending. Yeah. Even sometimes 7, and that's fine. But like I'm up. Ready to
That
start
energy,
the
you're
day.
getting so much of that energy back. That's just
Yeah.
such a sign we've been working on the energy so much and the fatigue and the brain fog and like love to see that win of because it's not like you're muscling through it like I'm waking up at 5 a.m. and I'm like pulling myself out of bed and I'm doing it right. Like no, you're saying like I'm just it's working.
Yeah.
Like I'm waking up, I'm feeling rested. Um
I also think like what's helped that though is joining my friend's gym. She's got morning classes and then she has afternoon classes. And there's times where if I can't do the afternoon class and I can do the morning, like I'm gonna get up. I'm paying for this. I want to make these changes. And I just want to feel good. I want to stop with excuses and I want to stop with just thinking about all the things that I want but not applying myself. I really want to make those changes physically, mentally. It's time. And I feel it. I feel really good. Also, so aside from my nighttime routine, I mean, there's times where like I have my midday crashes, but it's usually only when I'm at the hospital. Um, uh, but I mean, just going every day and just doing whatever I need to do, whether it's running errands or whether it's doing stuff around my house. What else? Seeing my friends and family, just anything. I get up and I go, and it's great. I mean, don't get me wrong, like it's not just like I could just get up and just start my day. It's a process. I get ready and then I will drink my warm water with lemon and then I will eat within the 90 minutes that I'm up. Tracking my food. Um, like I track like my calories, but then I also am tracking like what I'm eating because obviously I can't just eat whatever I want. So I've been doing good with that. Again, not 100%, but I've always struggled with that. So I'm just still working through that because we all know how cravings get as a woman. um, and yeah, making sure that I'm getting my supplements in, my water. What else? And my biggest one is working out. I mean, I feel great. I can see improvement. I can see that I'm building muscle and I'm here for it. I love it.
Well, it's something
Yeah.
you really didn't have the capacity for before. It was something that you
Yeah.
wanted to focus on and you wanted to build into your routine, but you were barely getting through the day, right? It was like, how are we going to fit that in? How are we going to make that work in a way that it doesn't deplete you even further?
Yeah.
So over the course of the program, as your energy came back, you were able to start moving toward that goal. And it just shows like as you learn to reduce and manage the symptoms, how your life can get bigger in the areas that you've wanted it to get bigger in, that you just haven't had the capacity to grow and put the attention and energy towards.
Right.
So lots of changes in the quality of life realm for you as
Hmm.
you've reduced and managed the symptoms. So we've talked about, how long you experienced the symptoms, what they were, how severe they were. We've talked about what the impact that had on your life, why you chose to take this type of approach. We've talked about what your fears were going in and how those shifted throughout the program. We've talked about the symptom reduction and management that you've seen and how that's improved your quality of life. And I want to share a couple of quotes that just reflect that based on our sessions. One of them, you said, the doom and irritability is at an all-time low and no cramps, which I
Yeah.
loved in that cycle.
Yeah.
And then I have another one here. You said my skin is so nice and clear,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is something else we didn't list in the symptoms, but the acne was something that you were struggling with as well that has improved.
Yeah.
So it's just some great quotes that reflect how far you've come in the program and with these symptoms, and really like giving hope to our community that this can feel really unmanageable. It can feel so hopeless. Like you've tried everything. Like there's no way that you could improve the symptoms or your quality of life, but you're proof that that's not true. You're proof that that's a story that we can very easily tell ourselves. Both of us have told ourselves that story at a point, as we've been navigating it.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, what would you want those women to know who are still just feeling so hopeless, feeling confused, trying to survive these symptoms day in and day out? What would you want them to know, knowing what you know now and after the work that you've done?
Um, one, eh, so you're not alone. Um, this is a fight that most women fight without even knowing it. And if there's anything that I could say that, could help somebody else is staying in that fight. And, just knowing that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Um, and I know how easy it is to feel like it's not, um, or that there is no light. And that it's possible. It's possible to work through this. It's possible to feel better. It's possible to manage all of this. Um, it's it's possible. And it takes a lot, and it takes a lot from you physically, mentally, emotionally, and um, to be able to sit here and say, like, doing it a natural approach, or in a meeting with a holistic, anybody, it's it, it's definitely worth it. It's definitely every penny. I mean, like I said earlier, this is my life, and I'm so grateful and blessed to have this opportunity. And I know that anybody can. And yeah, you just got to stay in the good fight. Um, and really work hard, and stick with it. And it's a great thing that you're doing. I'm so honestly grateful to have found you and had invested my time and everything with you, because I don't know where I would be. I mean, I would be on birth control, but I don't want to be, and I know that that's not my answer. So I will take any other answer besides SSRIs or birth control. Not that, I'm completely against it. I understand that it's needed for things, but I always felt like, even when I was prescribed medications, I knew it wasn't for me. And I would look at the bottle, and I was just like, yeah, no, this is not it. I didn't feel it. Wasn't feeling it. I mean, granted, obviously I'm on the birth control, but I'm not feeling it. I'm grateful for it in some ways, but in other ways, I'm so I'm much more grateful to have met with you and worked with you. And I I've recommended you to quite a few people that I know that suffer with PMDD, and I hope and pray that they meet with you, because I know that it would be life changing. So yeah.
Well, thank you for saying all that, and thank you for sharing your story. And it's so exciting to see you feeling better. And it's so exciting to see the motivation. One of the big motivations for you coming into the program was like, the birth control is helping me, but I don't want to be on it forever. And I want a bridge off. And with the work that we've done, right? Like you're feeling so much more confident about managing this. We also resourced you with the nutrients that you would need in order to more easily transition off of the birth control. So you're in a better place to do that. And I'm really excited to hear how that goes when you make that choice.
Yeah.
But to just see you getting your life back, to see you working towards goals that you weren't able to work towards in the past, to see you feeling more hopeful about your future, that is the biggest gift. It's been such an honor to witness you show up for yourself, build that confidence in yourself, and see you getting days and weeks of your life back. And this is only the beginning, right? You're graduating out of this program, but like the work continues, and I'm so excited to see what comes for you as it all continues to unfold.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I have to say, if we're going to talk about fears, the fear is coming off birth control, because that's when I will really be put to the test. And I know with all the knowledge and all of the things that I've been doing now to prepare myself, I know that it will it will pay off in the long run, but it's still so scary because it was just such a dark place that I don't want to go anywhere near that ever again. And I feel for every woman in this world that has dealt with this. And yeah, you're definitely not alone. Definitely not.
Well, thank you so much, Allie. It's so brave to share your story, but I know it's going to raise so much hope in the community for the women to listen to what you've been through and where you are now, and
Yeah,
just give them that little sliver of belief in themselves that they can also do this for
yeah,
themselves.
absolutely. Yes,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you, Allie. Thank you so much.